Chat was popping YouTube. New year, same old spookin' hour channel. And I just got back from reading my first book of the year. Neil Gaiman's Coraline. So this book is probably more famous because of its really good film adaptation. But I'd never read it, and so I did. And, yeah, it was alright. So let's just get into it.
Sweat is breaking on my brow. Where's the freak to ease my pain?
So the story opens on Coraline Jones. Not Caroline, as everyone keeps calling her, but Coraline.
I don't care, get out. No, he got my name wrong.
What the fuck name is Coraline? Like, is that even a real name? Okay, so it kind of is, but Coraline was actually a legitimate typo. Interesting. Anyway, so her family, which is this really boring British family, has just moved into this sketchy flat in this sketchy country known as the United Kingdom.
I'm a snatcher, my new ting bad, Margaret Thatcher.
Coraline is your average tomboyish girl who wants to explore all the time, but her parents are too busy with boring things like, you know, making sure they can pay the mortgage and putting food on the table or something. Anyway, she has some wacky neighbours like Mr. Bobo, who is this Slavic dude who just like lives upstairs and claims to have a mouse circus or something, and these two definitely not lesbian ex-thespians who read her tea leaves and have cute doggos. Anyway, so one day Coraline finds this weird door that leads to nowhere, but then that night she sees this spooky motherfucker slinking around the living room, and then the door actually leads somewhere after that. So being bored, she goes through the door and ends up in this fucked up backwards version of the flat owned by Other Mother, which is this creepy doppelganger of her actual mother who has buttons for eyes. For some reason that's not really explained outside of just being creepy.
You're not my mother. My mother doesn't have... buttons?
Anyway, there is also this certified simp called Other Father, same deal, and other versions of the other flatmates. Anyway, so Other Mother plays with Coraline and cooks good food, and basically she just wants Coraline to sew buttons into her eyes and stay with her forever. So pretty normal stuff. And then there's also this like talking cat that's there as well, and he likes to go in between our world and the fucked up world for some reason, but we'll get back to him later. So anyway, Coraline says no and goes home, but when she wakes up, her real parents have all been kidnapped by Other Mother. And so she goes to rescue them, but, you know, Other Mother isn't having any of it. She wants Coraline to stay with her forever, but Coraline won't do it. Other Father then snitches about, like, challenging Other Mother to a game, Toy Maker style. Like, she likes to play games, so you should, like, challenge her to a game. But Coraline ends up being put on timeout inside this spooky old mirror, where she meets the souls of 3 other unfortunate children who have been the previous victims of Other Mother and have been trapped here forever. They call Other Mother the Beldam, and they really need Coraline to find their souls, which are hidden throughout the fucked up, you know, monster world. So with a 6th side quest unlocked, Coraline is let out of the mirror and asks Other Mother to play a game. Basically, she has to find the 3 souls and her parents, and if she can, she goes free. But if she fails, she stays with Other Mother here forever. So anyway, Other Mother swears on her right hand, and the game is off. So the world then becomes like an actual nightmare. Other Father has been turned into some kind of amorphous blob demon, and the lesbians are like a spider monster now, and you get the idea. The cat freaks out because he can't get back out of the hell world, and I'm not really sure what he's doing here in the first place. But anyway, so Coraline finds the 3 souls and realises that her parents are in a snow globe that Other Mother keeps on the mantelpiece. However, she also realises that, you know, Other Mother has locked the door out and is not going to play fair. And, you know, we'll just keep her here anyway. So in a genius move, she tells Other Mother that the parents are being kept in the passageway between worlds. And, you know, Other Mother then opens the door to prove it to Coraline that they're not there. And then Coraline just sort of throws the cat at her, which just fucks her face up and then bolts. So she manages to grab the key, grab the cat, grab the snow globe, and escape into the spooky tunnel. And she manages to seal Other Mother inside the fucked up world and lock it. However, Other Mother's like right hand manages to pop off her wrist and squeeze through the gap and runs about like a spider. And so Coraline's life goes back to relative normal. The 3 dead children thank her and fuck off to the afterlife, and her parents have no memory of these events because grown-ups suck. Then that motherfucking hand tries to get the key back, but Coraline just tricks it into falling down a well and seals off said well. The end. So this book is a bit of a hard one for me to review for one main reason. It is a kid's book. it deals with some, mature themes and stuff, but this is ultimately a kid's book in the same vein as, like, Roald Dahl. I often pitch Neil Gaiman to people as sort of writing kids' books for adults, but this is an actual kids' book, and as such, the vocab is dumbed down and it really relies on illustrations for a lot of the descriptive work instead of the prose. So this book deals with some pretty intense themes of abusive parenting and abusive relationships in general. Other Mother is a hellish parody of an overbearing abusive parental figure. She claims all the time to love Coraline, but she doesn't really love her. She sort of gaslights her and controls her all the time because she wants to keep her like a pet, basically. She doesn't actually love her like a parent should. She constantly undermines Coraline's actual parents, and when she doesn't get her way, she abuses Coraline, browbeats her, and tries to trick her into staying with her. This is a very real take on child predators, and while with a very two-dimensional villain, it is a really great dilution of this intense theme to make it sort of digestible to children. But as I said, it is kids' books, so there isn't much more to unpack here. However, I do think that this book needs a bit more, children's book or not. The film is significantly better, like a lot better. It's creepier. It makes Other Mother, more of an enticing siren to Coraline as well. Unlike in this book, she sort of just like, she tries to woo her once and then just sort of resorts to kidnapping people. In the film, the world is so colourful and it's a musical, and Other Mother cooks amazing food and does all this stuff, right? And Coraline's home life is so much worse in the film as well. The film is just much more colourful. It gives life to side characters and just generally has a much better atmosphere of fear and dread than this book does. In fact, it's almost the opposite of most adaptations. Normally, after I watch a movie, after just reading the book, I complain about, all the characters and storylines that they cut, but here is actually kind of the opposite. The movie adds a lot of really good stuff that the book, I feel, might have needed. A big one is Wybie, the quasi-romantic interest, and a few of the other sequences missing from the book really could have helped elevate it. I also think that Other Mother's design is much better in the film. She's hinted at being a spider in the books, given the whole spider web motif. But at the end of the day, she is just a pale, taller, creepy version of Coraline's actual mother, instead of being this, like, needly spider monster. Reading this really proved to me how amazing a film Coraline actually is. And it is hard for me to say this, but I think for the second time ever on this channel, the film is better. So not exactly Gaiman's best, but if you have kids around like the age of 10, this would probably be a good book for them. Overall 3 out of 5, but as a kid's book, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. I think it just needed a bit more meat and needed to be a little slower paced. Yeah. And if you want to check out anything I've written, head on over to my website and check out any of my short stories. I think the best one is probably Caught the Carrion King, but feel free to take your pick. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you around.
There's a